I, Enrique Peña Nieto, President of Mexico, am speaking here today in hopes that Mr. Donald Trump and I can come to a mutual and friendly agreement on immigration laws between our two nations. I understand that Mr. Donald Trump and I don't see eye to eye, but I am hoping that we could come to some sort of an agreement on these laws. All I'm asking Mr. Donald Trump to do is to listen to what I have to say here today and to consider there may be immigrants that are trying to enter both of our nations for whichever reason, whether it is for asylum or to seek employment, are coming because they have to and have no other place to go to. As President of Mexico, I have come to understand that immigration is only going to get worse as other nations' economies, including ours, is getting worse. As president of such a huge country, I have also thought about ways that both our nations could work on together to help manage and control these waves of immigration. A few of them are: the economy for the U.S. could be stronger if the government will implement a plan to selectively allow Mexican immigrants, Afro-Mexican immigrants, and other immigrants with desired skills to enter the country. As the U.S. economy currently is experiencing a labor shortage, and with migrant workers with the desire to work and seek employment, this shortage could be fulfilled and therefore help the agricultural, the construction, and the manufacturing industry to satisfy their need for laborers with low wages. If done properly, these immigrants would not only make a necessary contribution to these industries, but will also pay taxes that will help the U.S. economy. The U.S. could implement immigration laws to ensure reasonable and just accommodations for these laborers. In doing so, this would create an incentive for those who have talents and skills to consider the U.S. a place where it could offer gainful employment with at least a guarantee of minimum wage, and not just a place of asylum where services are handed out for free. There is a big difference between both. Seeking asylum are for elderly, the sick, and the youngsters, but seeking employment are for the willing, ready, and the able workers. Our nation will welcome the opportunity to collaborate and assist in the screening process of those traversing our country to seek employment in the U.S., and in lieu of spending billions of dollars to build a wall, which in fact it is seen as a segregating measure and unfriendly gesture to our nation, we could just use that money to help fund the processing station in our country along strategic border points to help mitigate the entry of the unwanted, non-desirable immigrants into the U.S. This will help us in the U.S. by sending a message to those who seek entry to the U.S. and making them understand the desired skills and talents that the U.S. is seeking. I hope that Mr. Donald Trump takes these points into account and hope that he could change his mind about these immigration laws for the sake of both our nations and the world. And if not, Mr. Donald Trump gives our nation no option but to implement a law to ensure that these immigrants get to a processing station where they could legally enter the U.S. 2, I would take the plan to the United Nations and ensure and seek support from other nations to make sure that these immigrants get what they need to. And thirdly, collaborate with the U.S. who are people in the U.S. who are politically opposed to Mr. Donald Trump, and openly campaign with them to ensure that Mr. Donald Trump does not get reelected. And after that, I will work with Congress to achieve the previously stated plan to help these immigrants. Like I have said earlier, immigration is only going to get worse. Let's not make the issue harder as well. I hope that Mr. Donald Trump and I can work something out and come up with this plan so that we could move to a positive step on the immigration control. Thank you all. Que viva México.